Well, hey everyone, welcome to Geocache Talk tutorial number 1, and we're going to do Metaverse tonight. And pretty much Jesse's going to run the show. Jesse, just I'm just
throwing
kidding.
it all on me, huh?
No, I'm kidding. I just threw that out there for fun. But we're going to do Metaverse, and so your first some thoughts about Metaverse before we kind of get into the actual
Augmented reality part. So
yeah. Or yeah, let's start with that. Let's start with that. Before we even get into Metaverse. So you found out because I told you, right?
Yeah. I was quite shocked. I thought it might even be a joke when you told me.
Right. Well, I found out from the Bruce Zero. Thank you so much, Bruce Zero. I saw a post that he put out about it. That it was, and he posted the rule, like the Geocache
2.1, the little
the
segment,
geocache.com rules or guideline, what are you going to say? So I was like, whoa. I was familiar with it some because of Gigastock. And of course we did a whole show on augmented reality geocaching, but I know a lot of people want to know more about, and I've had a lot of people ask, it's like, well, how do you even start? And so we're going to get to that here in a minute. But when you first heard about it, what was your first thought?
So it's pretty cool that they're trying something new. I know it's experimental. It's only for 3 months, and it still goes into that, the catch-all type of unknown, which puzzle and challenge and all that stuff, goes in there too.
Right.
But it's great. It's experimental. I think it's fun, and of course, because we're geocachers, we want to put out the type. We want to do it as soon as we can and try it out, and it's something new to play with, right? We didn't have anything new for a while, so I'm very happy with the idea that we're doing this experiment. And, quickly, of course, let's get one out. Start with something easy, just like you do when you first put where it goes in an area, and then get more complex. And again, like we've been talking about, we're geocachers. We like to cross things off of a list. So this is just, even though it's not its own icon type yet, you do, if you're an advanced cacher, if you've been doing it for a while, you want to jump on and be able to, oh yeah, I put one of those out, and other people are still learning about them, and you've already put one out. So that's why we're doing this now, and we're going to talk about Metaverse. That's just the easiest one. But when they announced it, they said, here's 4 different ones you can do. And for the first couple of days, I couldn't even get on any of them. And then, or not first couple of days, first couple hours, I guess, because I put one out the first day.
Because you and I were talking about, and I know we were going around the first day, like you're like, I tried all these apps, none of them work.
Yeah.
Like, dang it.
After a little tweaking, Metaverse, the one we're going to talk about tonight, I think is the easiest one to get. And we've seen some of the other ones, people are having a little trouble with them, but Metaverse seems to be the easiest, and it's got a lot of potential. But today what we're talking about is jumping on there and getting one easy one to intro one to your area. And then after we finish that, we'll spend a few minutes talking about some of the possibilities in case you haven't been on there yet. And then we'll probably follow up later in another week or so, or another, amount of time after people get to play with that, with something more advanced. Not that this isn't advanced. I mean, it's a computer program to build a cache, right? But but we want to get people to get out there, and I would encourage you to get out there. I did a little poll on Instagram today, and it's kind of mixed right now. Are you going to publish an AR cache? Some say yes, some say no. But the ones that did say yes were like, we need a little information to be able to do it. So that's why this is here. But I'm excited. Of course, I jumped on Where I Go too for the same reason, right? It's something you can add to the game, so why not? And then as soon as I can get on and learn it, I'm going to try to teach everybody else as well.
Yep. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, that's so we're going to get started. So
quick disclaimer, we're brand new to this.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out. We just figured out something right before we started this tutorial video. So
I know you found
we'll go with it, and and then in 6 months from now, we're going to look back on this, and everybody's going to laugh and go, they were dumb. They didn't know this or this yet. But you know what? We'll get enough tonight that you can put one out in your area right now.
Exactly. Right. This is a beginning tutorial because we're beginners. So it works perfect because that's all we know.
That's right.
We're going to teach you everything we know. Later
on. One of the only
on,
times we'll ever say beginning tutorial on this show.
Exactly. But it's an advanced item.
Right.
But we're doing the beginning portion of it as something advanced. Because a lot of people, I've noticed there's some people are like really like negative about it. It's like, look, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like
Stick
people
to your
like
one ones and your
yeah,
traditionals, and you're
exactly.
fine.
Go
This
find
is
your
for people who want to
OPCs.
do everything in geocaching. So,
Absolutely, exactly.
all right. So I'll start my
Eh,
screen share and we'll kind of
Yeah,
narrate as we walk through it.
yep. Let me switch over to your screen. Okay, you're good.
All right. So, like we said, Metaverse is probably the easiest one. When you pull up gometa.io,
Yep.
uh,
Make sure and go ahead and do a full screen. By the way, Jesse, if you can do a full screen on
mine
your.
is full screen.
It is full screen.
Yep.
Did you do when you did screen share? Did you do full screen or
Let's see. Let's do
do a
screen
screen?
share. Let me stop sharing it.
Yep. Stop
Screen
sharing and then
share. Yeah,
you
your
should be able
entire
to do
screen.
entire screen. Okay. It may be because of what you've got, maybe laptop wise or whatever. So we're good. I can see it.
Okay.
Um,
Here, I'll try to see if it'll go any fuller screen.
that's good. We're good. I can see it now. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'll have to.
Now, yep. So Meta, it's gometa.io.
Yes.
Yep.
And the first time you get in, you'll go get started and you'll set up your profile name. I just kept mine the same as mine on geocaching.com just because it's
Yep.
the easiest. After that, you'll hit login
Mm-hmm.
and it'll show the ones that you build right here, like a standard menu dashboard. And so this section right here is tutorials. And I would definitely recommend everybody jump on those because they've got several tutorials um, ranging from putting a leaderboard on to doing some other advanced topics and really setting it up a pretty advanced ones. We're just going to talk about a basic one today. So
Yep.
top right corner, create experience, and it'll come up with a kind of a drawing board.
Yep. There we go.
Here, it's got a bunch of little helpful things here. So we'll get that out of the way.
Yep.
So the drawing board starts with this, a little settings cogwheel there, then your basic first blank page.
The cogwheel is important. I noticed one thing, and you probably noticed this too, Jesse, is if the far right side of your screen, which has the description, the location on it, if that ever goes blank, it's because you need to go back and click on the cog.
Right.
Because if you don't, because I'm like, wait, where'd it go? It's like, oh yeah, click on the cog, you get back to where we are. So that's anyway.
So kind of going through a few things here.
Mm-hmm.
At the top, this is the name of your the name of the experience. Experience is what they call the little game or the cartridge for Wherigo.
Right.
That's what will show up when other people search it. So we'll say Geocache Talk. And if you search that, it'll show up in there immediately. The cogwheel. So this is where you can put a basic script description. This is a test experience for a tutorial.
Yep.
Now, so location, map location. You can do an address or pull it up by the map in an area. We're just going to do one in my city.
Yep.
So right over by the interstate. Actually, you move the map to the point.
Yeah, that's one thing you'll learn too. You can't move your pointer; you have to move the map.
So this is interesting. So we'll select that spot. Yep. Well, if you'll notice on a bunch of people's ones they're doing so far, and even one of mine, we just figured out how to do this. If you leave it like this, even though it says require the user be near one of these locations in order to open this experience, it won't apply unless you select a group, new group, and this will also change the name of your experience when people look it up. But so now, if Gary was to pull, and I can put something to test on here, test narrative. You try to pull this one up now because it's already published.
Yep, I'll do that right now. Memphis. All right, so I'm going to pull this up. If I could spell tonight. Memphis. Oh, there we go. Oh, hang on.
So what it should do, what you're trying to do is lock. not have a play anywhere. If you wanted to play anywhere, you would just leave the location off.
Right.
People could play it anywhere. If you want to tie it to a location, you do it just this way. And I've got a 40-meter radius on that one. So this is what it should come up with.
It shows, let me see if I can show it correctly here. You can see, there we go.
So it shows Geocache Talk Tutorial, which is the group name.
Right.
And if you click on that,
there it is.
Make sure your screen is the one that's showing too.
Yep, mine is.
Okay, so click that one. Yep. So
that's what you want to get. You want to get the screen that says that it's not allowing it.
Yeah, so it's basically saying you're out of range.
Out of range, which is important.
You don't have to set that, but if you do, then people can't just play it on their couch from Australia.
Right. Unless you want it that way. I noticed that some of the caches that people put out are set to, and they actually put in quotes, kind of like I'm sure they're where I go for people.
Yeah.
Because it says play anywhere. Because you can do a play anywhere. So yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back to the screen here.
Yep.
All right, so back on Metaverse.
Yep.
So for now, I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to take that off so we can test throughout the tutorial.
Yep.
Otherwise, you won't be able to test it.
Right.
So this is the first screen. Now you can select a character. When you select a character, and this is what's going to show up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Have a lot of pictures in there, or you can upload your own.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an ammo can. A lot of people are using that one right now.
Yep, that's what I use for mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is going to flow in this general way.
And I like it has got the little arrow to the left there. You can see it. So you get an idea of where it's going. And the check mark, by the way, is indicating that it's ended. That's it.
Right.
There's nothing after it.
That's it. So now you've got a basic start screen. Yep. We'll type with this and say, welcome. What this is going to show when somebody looks at this is everything that's in blue in the background is going to be showing straight through like you're looking through your camera. This item is going to show overlaid on whatever you're looking at. And then this is going to pop up above it, and it'll type out like a typewriter would. So welcome, and then the rest of the message would type out. So starting with that, now you have the very beginning. Technically, you could say, welcome, the geocache is at, north, whatever, right here, and that's the end of it, and you could publish it right from there. But you wanted to add a little bit more to it than that. So down here is like your button, like you would have in Where I Go. You can select an action from here. So this action, if you click on that, so now you can transition. So if they hit that, and we'll just add one more here.
Yep.
Somebody's already testing it out now. As we're doing this live, they're in there playing with it.
They saw it.
Yeah.
They're looking at all yours for sure.
So now what this does effectively is when you open it up, it says welcome. They can click this button, which will show up on their screen, and it'll transition to this next scene. Right. So you can change the character. You can do, you can say, you made it. Go get the geocache.
Yep.
It is under the rock at north 40,
so forth, so on.
West 105, ... That right there that's a complete introduction. That's already live because you see the published right here. Unless you select draft so nobody can see it, they start being live from the very second that you start building it.
Which is cool. You want me to show?
Yeah, so going back to us for a second.
Okay.
So that right there starts one off. And a lot of that you're seeing are very basic now. What that would do effectively is you've got one. Are you going to play it through?
Yeah, I was going to play it.
Okay.
But yeah, let me grab my camera. So this will be a little
because it's directional based, right?
Yeah, it's directional based. So let me get to where I know we're a little tricky here tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can kind of see that, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, see how the ammo can shows up, and then there's a speech bubble above it, and that's the first one that says welcome. So if you hit the blue button, it should move on to the next one.
Right. Hit the button, and it moved on.
So now it looks the same, so you can barely tell that it changed, but it's the ammo can again.
Yep.
And it the next thing, and that's where it says the cache is at so and so.
Yep.
So right here, you're talking about like a 1-1 level cache, but that is enough to qualify as an AR cache, and you could put that out right now. Hide a container because they all have to end in a container, and somebody could go find that.
Absolutely.
That may be with a little more wording in there to your area. That may be as simple as you want to go for people to at least try it the first time.
Right.
So, you'd set the group setting, put it within, 100 meters of wherever it is, tell them to, on the cache page, tell them to go to the parking lot, and then it would open up from there, and then it goes to wherever it is.
Yep.
Simply put, that is the basic level AR geocache that you can put out right now. They'll publish that, go on the geocaching website, and they'll give you or look at any of the other AR caches. It has to be the 3 requirements are: 1, it has to start with AR _.
Yep.
And then the title. It has to be a puzzle, or not puzzle, but unknown. And then you have to put a group of text in there that they're providing for you. So every one of them that's published right now has that.
And you can go steal that from any of them, any of the caches that are out there right now. You just
and it's all over there, and it's got to be text, and it's got a link to both the survey and then the iOS and Android apps.
Yep.
But that's pretty simple. You can steal that from anywhere. So that's your basic AR geocache right now. A couple other things to note is, one, because we've talked to some of the reviewers about this, it doesn't. So think about it like an Earth cache, except for not terrible. So,
wow,
had to throw that jab in there.
Yeah, throw a jab.
So
that's fine.
You submit it to your local reviewer. They'll check some basic stuff to see if that has it on there, but then they're going to send it off to headquarters, and every one of those is being approved through headquarters right now.
Yeah, so it's a little slower probably than most people. Whatever your normal time frame is, assume that it's going to be a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have everything ironclad and bulletproof before you send it in, and just expect it to be a little bit longer. Make sure you test it first. Have somebody else test it first, and then make a basic. What I would suggest is make a basic one. Put it out in your area so you have one under your belt, and people are getting used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then start doing some of the advanced stuff, the fun stuff that we want to do. Same thoughts for you?
Yeah, I think the tutorials on Metaverse that are out there, I think, are probably pretty good. Jesse and I kind of fumbled around quite a bit. It took me a while to figure out mine. The ones in Texas, I figured out the YouTube part, so I created a YouTube video, and you've got to take only that little tiny little part of it, of the YouTube. The actual it doesn't want the whole URL if you're going to put a video out there on YouTube and use it as part of your.
Right. It's the ID.
Yeah, it's just that little ID portion of it.
So let's show them some of the things that it'll do.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and pull up
that pretty much covers the basic, right? You could take that information right now and put one out tonight and be done with it.
Yes, I agree.
Who wants to stop there?
No, nobody does.
Right.
But we don't want what we're trying to avoid though is like I was talking to Electric Water Boy, and he just needed a push to even get started and know where to go. So that's what we're providing tonight.
So get that basic one out there, get your reviewer comfortable with you doing it, and then start building an advanced one. Get the people in your area going after it. So let's talk about a little more of the advanced options now. Yeah. So without going to the tutorials, so here's that one that we just did. I'll do a screen share.
Yeah,
and get that going for you.
Yep.
So now going back over here, the cog here. This is the one we just went through. We've got it. Let's go back. And these are the experiences I've been playing around with.
Yep.
So
now, are you doing anything with the QR code? Are you sticking the QR code on the web page? I mean, you can, I guess.
Yeah. So here's. I'm glad you said that. Before we get into the other advanced things, so when you do one here, it provides a QR code. You can put that on the web page. You can also put I'd put the name so they can easily search it. There's probably a way to put a link in there as well. I'd make it as easy as you can. So that QR code, if you have the Metaverse app, you just point it at that QR code and it'll automatically pull up the game. It works pretty well. But that comes up with each one that you create. So there's the one we just created. And I would put on this description here, I'd put the GC code in there as well.
Yeah.
So let me do my experiences. So going back to these, here's a few that I've been playing around with. This one, AR reverse webcam. Anybody can get on there. It's wide open right now.
It's very cool.
I did not assign a group to it, so we'll go ahead and click on that one. It's a pretty neat idea. And so it's a reverse webcam. So you go to the location and you take your picture. Let's just go through it real quick. So
edit that puppy.
Here's how this one looks. You take your picture, it uploads to a wall, and everybody's picture is going to upload to. I'll show real quick. Well, I may not be able to show it right now, but we'll upload to a wall. So opening screen, it says it's a reverse webcam. It's a little different. You take your picture. When you take your picture on the second frame here, and that's one of the options we'll show in just a minute. I created this overlay, so that'll show up on your picture, the webcam.
Right.
It saves to a wall, which has a link, and you can post a link to that on the cache page. So then every picture that's ever taken is shown up on a grid format on that cache page.
Which is really cool.
And this one here, oops. Oops, let's cover that part. So, I mean, if you're close, you're going to get it anyway, right? But
yeah, you're going to get it anyway.
So it's a good job you did. You found the first webcam, and right here it tells them where the final is. The final is hidden, and you can go get it from that point and sign it just like a regular cache. But so right here is what we're talking about. This is the more advanced options.
Right.
This right here has the option when they select that screen, then they can take their picture. What I'll warn you about if you're going to copy this one is my reviewer is going to bat for me right now, but Groundspeak is saying that you can't, force anybody to take a selfie. Well, it's optional. And if you set up one like this, it is optional, and they could take a picture of the floor, and it would still go on to the next one. It's not checking to make sure they're doing a selfie.
Right.
So unlike a webcam, there's no real check in it, but hopefully they'll let that one go through after a little bit of appeal.
Do you think you could put a little verbiage in there that basically says you can take a selfie, or if you want to take a picture of the wall, your wall, that's fine, or take floor is a good example.
Yeah, I actually did.
Take a picture of the floor. Did you? Okay.
It's just so brand new. So here, if we're going back to this one here.
It's not published yet, but you got
it. It's not published.
It's a great idea, though.
It's okay. So
I love that.
And so right here is the link that I showed. Because people have already been playing with it. All these people so far have already gone and played with them. So a lot of those are me. They're testing it out. But then other people, and it shows up with their name, who did it, and you can link that on your cache page. So that's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat reverse webcam, kind of is what I'm calling it. So hopefully that'll go through. But that's one of the options you have.
And really, it looks complex, but it really isn't. I mean,
it's as simple as this right here.
You found that card, I guess, if we want to call them cards. You're basically putting cards in a deck. And
that's a good way to look at it, yeah.
You found that
scenes.
Yeah, it's a different scene, and you found that. You didn't really build it. I mean, you built it, but I mean...
Right. So let's go through one and just look at the different options you do have then. Because it was as simple as that, and we'll create a brand new one right now.
Okay.
We'll just call it testing options.
Yep.
So now, again, back to our settings cog there. We could do a description right here. We don't know
what it'll be.
Going to do next. So as you're going through this tutorial, this one right here, I'm just going to keep this in live afterwards. You can go in and you'll see the exact thing we're typing here because we're going to keep it open. So if we wanted to do log down the location, we do it right here under group.
Yeah.
Well, we don't yet, so start. Now we can select if we don't select a character here in that location, it'll just be a blank screen and then a speech bubble. But they have a pretty good amount of characters.
Yeah. There are some funny ones.
And here's the good thing too. So add a character. You can upload something from your own that's 2D or 3D. And cool. Then it'll overlay right then. So you could do your own. Cool. But we'll do a cat. Board cat. Start.
Board cat. Cool.
So let's say on this one we want to do you can add a sound. So we'll do that real quick.
I've seen that. Yep. I saw one somebody did, which while you're looking for that real quick, there's one out there. It's a geocaching trivia game, and it plays the music for Match Game. Is it Match Game? No, what's it playing? It's playing The Price is Right. Anyway, you get the idea. And it asks you, and we can get into that maybe for a minute, but it'll show, basically it's just asking you a trivia question, and it keeps going. So it's kind of cool.
So here's Squish. Did you hear that one?
No, we can't hear him. Well, plus we can't.
Okay,
with Google Hangouts, you can't hear him. I can play one later if need be, but yeah, we won't be able to hear him through the thing.
Okay. All right. So anyway, you can pick one of these sounds, or if you just hit add sound, you can record your own voice.
Yeah, coins is kind of cool.
So anyway, you could add a sound right there. Add a frame.
Yep.
So if you want to take a picture, it's going to show up. Those things are going to show up right now. But some pretty neat options you have here. So now we have 2 buttons. So both of these would go to something. So now we can change this a little bit. Who is Gary? This one could show is cool.
He's not cool.
He is not cool. So you can immediately start to think, okay, so now I can ask questions. You can also change the button style on these. Let's see, where is it? Text. Oh, you can do images too, so they can select different images. But so now what this does, add new. Let's just add a picture for now. So how that says scene 2, I can say rename that. Gary is cool. And right here, that's selecting that button, transition to a scene. Gary is cool. So now that one's leaked.
So you can see the link is created. Yeah.
So think choose your own adventure, right?
Yeah. Choose your. I love that idea.
Another one here like this.
Right.
This, we'll call this scene not cool.
Not cool.
This right here. Now we
transition to
not
scene.
Cool. So if they selected this button, they're going to get this, which is cool. And not cool.
So you can see, definitely you can see how you could develop a story in a sense where it could. So like if somebody was in an area, so Jesse, somebody's in an area, you could go, so do you want to try going over to the woods in front of you, or do you want to go down the path to the right?
Absolutely could.
So that'd be cool.
So buttons, you can select button types. So over here, if we wanted those to be squares instead or circles, you could do that as well.
Very cool.
Okay. Then you can also see here, so you select this. Let's not do that one. Let's do this one. So not cool. Well, that's not very nice. So from this point, we can transition it to end experience. So that's like game end. So if they select he is not cool, he goes down here and says not cool, and then the game is over. So it kicks him out after that. You also have the options of do nothing, so that it could do nothing at the end of that. It could transition to another scene somewhere, transition to a block, which we'll talk about in just a second, and end the experience or suspend the experience. So transition to a block, let's say that. Transition to a block, which we haven't built yet. So we have to select a block, new block. So this gives you more options. That's that wall scene. You take a picture and go to that. But now, so we have those basic things, but I want to show some of these. So these are all scenes that you can select from.
Right.
So you can do a text input. You can add dialogue, give items and take items like in their inventory, just like you would in a Where I Go.
Right.
Web view scene, so you can do the 360 look around like the video portal scene.
That's cool.
The wall scene, what that does is you add pictures to a wall, just like on that reverse webcam. Camera scene, that's the one I use to take the webcam video and the reverse webcam. YouTube scene, so you can link to a YouTube video like Gary mentioned earlier. And again, that's that last little number after V equals on the YouTube URL.
Yep.
You can do a poll right here. So you could, what's your favorite type of cache? Traditional, Where I Go, Earth cache, whatever. And it would keep up with that. It would be a rolling tally. You can ask a question, multiple choice. There's your polls. You can create the poll. Save a photo to a wall or save text to a wall. So somebody could add comments like this was great, and you can keep up with all of those. And you could link that on your cache page.
Very cool.
Custom block, we hadn't even started with that yet. You get down to camera. That's the photo wall. Play a sound. There's all these options that you can get in there and do. Experience profiles.
And it gets more and more.
Here's the leaderboard. So there's a tutorial on this one. I haven't used this one yet, but you can do a leaderboard by the first 10, 15, 20, whatever people that are able to find this. And there's several different things you can do along with this. Polls, probability. You can select random probability, so they roll in a dice like a game, like like you can do in a Where I Go also. This is pretty interesting. Time controls, so you can set time limits on what they're able to do, how long they're able to do it.
They have to start over if they don't finish in a certain amount of time. Kind of that's cool.
It looks like there's some options for text and making phone calls. So the way that could potentially be used is like you set up a Google Voice account. It calls, it gets a recorded message.
They have to call, right? That's a good idea.
So the different walls.
I don't know. Yelp is in there. I was like, Yelp? Why is Yelp in here? But I thought that's a cool idea. I don't know what it's for though.
It is. Well, so here's why I think that's in there now is because these weren't set up for geocaches.
Sure.
They were set up to be used as an educational tool. So now we're just retrofitting these to be used as geocaches. Sure. But you can get input just like you can with the Where I Go. There's a lot of things you can do. You can add video and sound pretty easily. You can add your own images overlaid onto something like on the desk. And I think all of these things are quite possible. If you look at the tutorials, you can see. So if you look at the tutorials, you can see where they've really set it up. You get items, your choices, select a new storyline. And then really if you're locking it down to an area, you're now taking them to an area. A few of the things that I want to experiment with are the timers. If you can do different stages at different locations, so they're only able to play them in different locations. If you can do a clock in it, like you can do with the Where I Go, and make it only be able to play at night. So these are the things that we're just throwing out ideas that you might be able to experiment and do. And once you can, don't keep that a secret. At least with this group, start sharing. Let's share that information out. Let's get some really advanced ones out there because audio, video, you can do a lot of things already with this. Storylines. There's a lot of things that I'm already thinking that you can do with this. I don't know if you can scan a QR code in there. I didn't even look for that, but I'm imagining you can incorporate that as well. There's a lot of things I think that you can do, because you can collect input in different forms too. Numbers, words, probably even voice in some way. I hadn't even seen that yet. I had to check that one out too. But again, the steps I would say is set up your account, go find one if you have one there. If not, put out a simple one so it'll encourage people to do it. And then once you get that simple one out in your area, start playing with these. And you can leave it open for people to test and then add the groups later just to see if it'll work. And then once you add that added into that group like we talked about, then you can only do it for that radius. You have to be on scene to be able to do it. But it can be tested as soon as you put it out there. People can test it from anywhere.
Test it. Yeah,
that's you lock it down in the group,
right? Which is, I think, is everybody should be able to just make one, even if you don't do the cache part yet. But you got a plan, like you're not quite sure where you're going to put a cache yet. At least go build one. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You can build one right now, and like Jesse said, it'll be live as soon as you put it out there, so you can send it to a friend and go, "Hey, try this out. Tell me what you think."
Absolutely.
Check out all the AR_ caches. Many of them are open, as far as they'll send you to. Most of them send you to Metaverse. There's a couple HP reveals out there, which I'm not sure about HP reveal. I've heard some. Maybe it'll be
good. Get it to work yet.
Yeah, a lot of people are having issues with HP reveal. Maybe it'll be good someday, but check them out. Shermanator 18 put one out. You can actually go play hers. I mean, you know, mine. I'm going to lock mine down because I think it's cool.
So let's do that right now while we're on the show. Let's test mine out. Let's lock mine down.
Cool.
So my account, my experiences, just so we'll go over it one more time because I think that's important for people to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Show that part.
We'll do the AR Colorado. So this is Colorado's first. That's what it shows up as. GC7 query.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
What letter?
What's W?
W is water.
Water. Oh, water. And what's J?
J is Jasmer.
Oh gosh, come on.
F is Fizzy.
GC7 query water Jasmer. Okay, I'll get those eventually. I got to sit down and look at those one day. So what we'll do is we'll hit edit.
You want to show it on the screen or?
Oh, yep. You know what? I will. Let me share. I forgot where I took it off screen share.
Yeah, put it back on screen share. I got you highlighted, so there you go.
There we go. So this is the insides of that one, and yes, it does show the answer there. That's okay. Patrons get to see it, right?
Yep.
It starts off first one. Welcome to the first one in Colorado. Bet you would like to know what the geocache is, and it gives them the final. It's that simple.
That's simple.
So what I'm going to do here is set up a group. New group. I'm going to call it the same name. So AR_Colorado. Create group. And now hopefully it's saved. So if you pull that one up, here I'll go back to the
switch back to me. Screen. Yep. And what I'll do is I'll bring up Memphis Mafia. All right. And that's the AR Colorado one, right?
Yep, should be AR Colorado.
Okay. Let me grab my screen and we can show everybody. Let me see if I can do it away from there. So, all right. So you can see it now. The AR Colorado one's right there.
Yep.
Click on that. There's AR Colorado right there.
Uh-huh.
And I get the message, not nearby. You are not close enough to the experience to be able to open.
There we go. That's perfect.
It says, so that's good. Now, if I was within, what is it, 40 meters is what it's set for?
I've got it set for 40 meters.
Can you change that, by the way? I haven't figured out yet.
It appears so. So
okay. Pull that back up if you would. Let me switch.
Okay, let me see. So let's look in there real quick.
And we'll wrap this up.
Screen share. Share it. And so it's currently set. Oh, map location 40 meter radius. I'm gonna have to look and see how you
figure that out.
Change the options on that. Yeah. So I don't know yet, but I know that's 40 meters. Now it's interesting. You know how it's small. It looks like I can assign more than one to that group.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to have all of mine that you have to be able to play within 40 meters of this location, right now it seems like I could do that. Transition to scene. So we'll have to get in there and really experiment. By the time we do our next tutorial, I think we'll have more answers on that. But right now, that'll give you some different options on what you can do to get a basic one and then really start diving into the experimental. And then start sharing. So we'll share with the group. We'll report out what everybody shares. And we'll try to add some tips as time goes on to our website, or at least the patron group. And not that we want to hide anything from anybody. I say share it with everybody, but the reason why we're starting with patrons is not just because they help with the show and everything else, and we know that patrons are deep into geocaching. They're the ones that are going to do the more advanced stuff. So at least start with them, and then we can get the information out from there.
Well, especially Geocache Talk patrons, they're the best. So,
well, obviously,
they're going right. Goes without saying, but they're the ones that are interested. For the most part, they're going to be the ones that are interested in this advanced thing. They're really
these are going to be your groundbreaking people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So cool.
Good deal.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll try to do some more in the future, and we'll see everybody on Sunday. So take care.
Good night.
Good night.